When music moves, it shakes the world. From passion to action. Catch conversations and inspiration as we get to know emerging artists at the Ohio University's Music Industry Summit.
We are the university that finds the way to do the most unique things and the coolest things.
This is the Launchpad Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Launchpad Podcast, brought to you as a part of Ohio University Music Industry Summit. And we're coming to you from Ohio University itself. This is a great annual summit. And as always, we have great conversations on the Launchpad Podcast where we highlight music from the next best now. And these are people who I am so interested in having a conversation with. Let me tell you how crazy it is. Their sound is an assimilation of not just groovy and jazzy, but meaningful and deep and fun and playful, but at the same time really introspective. It's one of those sounds you listen to and you just can't help but dive deeper into that. Mentally, emotionally, and in every way possible. I have the distinct pleasure of kicking it with part of the OG players. What's up, y'all?
Hey, how you doing? All right, how you doing, man?
That intro for me is like, I mean every word, by the way. I really like
awesome.
your sound.
Hey,
you know?
that was a great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourselves and, you know, the OG players. What are you all about? How did the group come together and you know, stuff like that?
So my name's Elaine. I'm the trombone player. I play violin too and some background vocals, but we started back in 2021, I think in the summer, because during COVID, none of the musicians, or most of the musicians, didn't want to get together to rehearse from the bands that Eric, the rapper who's not here right now, Eric and I have played together before. And we were like, well, we want to still make music, but no one else wants to. So we just went out into the park and I had a loop station and we just started writing like that. And that's how the group came about. And then later we added those two after a few months.
Yeah. And where did y'all, like, right before COVID and all that kind of stuff, like, what were y'all doing right before the OG players?
Me personally, I was starting to gig a little bit more. But before then, I was really working on the production side of things. So I'm a producer as well. So I focused mainly on that during the COVID and a little bit after COVID. I was focusing on that, and then I started to get hired to play for numerous bands in the city. And that's how I actually got involved with the band Set In one day, because Kito couldn't make it. And I'm like, all right. And I was like, yo, I dig this. So here we are.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Thanks, Robert. Kito, like, what was up?
I'm mainly DJing. I run like a music studio though, and like I was doing that a lot. And during the pandemic, I was like streaming DJing and like doing sets still, like kind of pretty active online. Then like everything opened back up, and I kind of, linked up with all the musicians again.
Yeah. How's your first recording session like? Like, how was the chemistry? How was, like, what happened? Just walk me through that. Like, how was it?
I think it was pretty dope. We actually had fun, nailed the tracks. And then the rest is history. It was fun. It wasn't like hard. We didn't have to keep going through it. It was like kind of 2 takes and done. All right, let's move on to the next one. So
Was Sonic Lounge the first?
What?
Yep.
First session.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was pretty dope studio. Just the vibe was there. I mean, before that we had gigs anyway, and we were performing this stuff. So yeah, we was already comfortable. So
with each other as well?
Yeah, with
Nice.
each other as well. So it wasn't hard at all to you know, get in the studio and get it done.
Yeah.
So
And what about your influences, like when it comes to creativity and the music? You know, like I know, Elaine, you mentioned like trombone and violin, and you know, like being DJs and producers. What were some of those influences that kind of shaped the way y'all create music?
I think it's a really unique set of influences because mine differs vastly from y'all's. I grew up, I started violin when I was 3, and my mom also plays violin, and so does her father. So they had me doing classical music stuff. I was kind of sheltered, so I didn't hear anything else. I was listening to like Itzhak Perlman. That was like the first concert I went to that I was super excited, which I don't know if y'all know who he is, but he's a famous violinist.
We'll put a note in the link.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of classical stuff. And then later on, like when I got to college, I started hanging out with the jazz kids, and they were like, oh, let me put all this music on your iPod. You got to transcribe these such and such solos over the winter break. So I had to transcribe all the solos from Sunny Side of the Street. You know the one I'm talking about.
you did pretty
The
good.
rest is history. The rest is history from there.
And how about Joe? Like, what are some of the influences that, you know, kind of shaped how you create?
Well, we had a family band, like growing up. I started playing guitar first, and then like started tinkering with keyboards, and then I got into like percussion and drums. I started playing like djembe and like other African percussion with like Tony West and Imani dancers. So we kind of like toured the country, you know what I mean, doing that. So I was back in like '88. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like old out here, but
The OG players.
yeah, you know what I mean. I mean, we are all OGs.
Yeah.
But in a sense, like observation generation too.
generation,
Like,
yeah.
So we got to stay current. But
For sure, yeah.
yeah, and then I mean, like I started DJing. We started DJing like our like high school dances and like the like neighborhood parties and all that. I mean, like the typical like one of the homies got some turntables, and we all kind of came over and started practicing, and it just kind of went on from there, and like got into like music production and all that, and
Nice.
the rest is history.
Sweet. So there's family influences. There's the jazz kids asking you to transcribe stuff. What's your story, Robert?
Well, I grew up in church,
Uh-huh.
so I had a dad that didn't go to church, but he was in the R&B, jazz, fusion. I had an uncle that was in the rock, and then I had uncles that were in the gospel music. So I listened wherever I was at. I was always listening to music. So it started off gospel, and then I went to a school in Columbus called Fort Hayes and went for instrumental music. And those guys that were drummers, they turned me on to a whole lot of different music. Some of my buddies turned me on to jazz. I really didn't even know like straight ahead jazz. I didn't know any of that stuff. So then I was just a sponge, so I just soaked up as much as I could. So I guess my influence on music and everything is kind of probably a little bit more colorful than theirs, but theirs is just as colorful as mine.
Yeah.
So
That's dope.
I'll say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Observation generation. What does that mean to y'all? You know, because you know it's one thing for me as an outsider to read that and be like, yeah, that sounds dope, but these are things that live in your hearts. You know, it's like when you say observation generation, it means something to each of y'all. Like, so what does that mean when you say that?
Right. Observation generation is really Eric's idea, the rapper and lyricist. And I think what he was going for, and I agree with, is like observation generation are the people who are taking in the world that's around them and all the craziness and whatever is going on around us, and we're not like jumping immediately into action and saying our opinions. We're like digesting it and then using the things that are helpful to us to create. I think that's what it means.
Yeah, sounds dope.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same feeling I got. You know, the world's crazy, but we're not really conforming to whatever else is going on. We like, okay,
Yeah,
let's make it our own
yeah,
while observing everything.
yeah,
And not say, oh, we should do that, or we should, no, let's just take it and make it our own.
Yeah.
You know, which
Yeah.
makes, I think, the music unique. It doesn't sound like anything that's
It's a dope fusion.
Today, it doesn't really sound like that. You know.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little, I guess, kind of personal to me. Like, it seems like we all kind of fit in. Like the observation generation is not, it's not an age thing, you know what I mean? It's just like people who are like aware and like, I mean, like kind of touching on what Elaine said, like it's like seeing what's going on and not reacting so quick. We're kind of taking it in. Like, I mean, I'm the youngest of like, I mean, plenty children, but like my mom had 4 boys. So like, I watched them make mistakes and was able to like learn from it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, that's what it means to me. Like, if,
Sweet. I love that. So what are you all currently working on right now? Like,
I got a tap dancing concert coming up next week at the Ohio. No, I don't. I'm just, I just wanted to say something funny, but no, no, I don't have anything.
you're gonna make people just like Robert tap dancing YouTube. You know, it's
yeah, I'm working on a few different albums. I got a couple bands we're rocking with. Like, I mean, it's plenty of music coming out. You know what I mean? That's all. I mean, that's always gonna be there. But you know what I mean? OG Players album coming out.
Yeah, we're releasing one single at a time until all 7 of the tracks are released. So the album is 7 tracks, each one based on one of the different chakras, the energy centers in the body. So we just released OG Kenobi, which is the root chakra track.
Love that.
I am, yeah. So we're working. We work collectively, and then we, you know, but I have 2 beat tapes I'm working on. I also play in a band called Liquor Crystal Project. So we're working on 2 records. I'm trying to think what else. Mm-hmm. It's a lot going on. We stay busy.
Yeah, that's great.
Like,
yeah,
we all the time.
That's
so.
great. So 2 things for me. One, we create superheroes here on the Launchpad podcast. So I want you to think about, and you know, it can just be one person each. If you could create a superhero artist, you know, we call it the fantastic artist, like from your influences, who would you pick based on something great they have? Let's say an instrumentalist that you absolutely love. Then you give me maybe something that you love from somebody else, then something that you love from somebody else, and then we can create this superhero artist together. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I got one. The Herbie Hancock Sunlight album.
What you love about that? One thing.
One thing.
One thing.
The sound.
Okay, let's go.
If I had to pick a musician,
and something specific that you love about him,
I would pick my favorite drummer of all time. Well, he's one of them, but his name is Dennis Chambers. But he happened to play on All Apartment Funkadelic records. Like, he's a big part of like the hip hop scene, like the 80s when they were actually using live instrumentation. And he could play like jazz, fusion. He just kind of covers every genre of music. So
dope. Kito.
I would probably pick the like expertise, like production expertise of like Quincy Jones or somebody like that.
Nice.
Like,
Sweet. Okay, before we let you all go, because we only got 15 minutes, but I will be stalking and following and hitting y'all up and checking up where you're doing tap dancing. You know?
And I got a cookbook coming out in 6 months.
Nice.
It's called Cooking with Robert.
Wow, it's dope, man. Love what you're cooking, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got this gourmet bologna sandwich recipe I'm working on right now. Y'all stay tuned. I might just go ahead and might make it a reel on Facebook. So
dope. So before I let you go, I want you to do this one thing for me. We call it a picture perfect, right?
Okay.
So we just want you to tell the Launchpad family why is it that you would love for them to be a part of your community, a part of, you know, your journey and your story. And any one of you all 3 can just, you know, share that and invite the Launchpad family into your community.
Sure. I think our music is designed for healing in multiple ways. One of those ways is that we record at 432 hertz instead of 440, which is supposed to calm your nervous system. So we're here for like chill, good vibes and healing.
Dope. I love that. It's been great connecting with you all. We only have 15 but it feels like we have so much more to speak about. And we just might do that. So stick around, check out what the Launchpad podcast has for you. Remember, it's always about highlighting the next best now. Wait for the next one. Follow them on all of their social media platforms. And let's wait for the next one. See you on the other side. Thanks for watching or listening to the Launchpad podcast. Click the links in the About page to get to know more about our artists, follow their journeys, and also find out what comes next in their story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you at the next launch.